We'll go ahead and get started with our post-race winners press conference. We welcome Crew Chief Steve Addington of the number 14 Code 3 Associates Mobile One Chevrolet and Competition Director Greg Zippadelli, the winning team of the 44th Annual FedEx 400 benefiting Autism Speaks here at Dover International Speedway. We'll start with Steve. Talk a little bit about that race out there. It's a pretty exciting day for you guys.
Yeah, I felt like we just needed track position and felt like our lap times were pretty good all day long. And when you start that far back, it's so tough. And then you got guys like Kyle and them running unbelievable laps at the beginning, and we get a lap down and get the lucky dog and got to work on our car a little bit. And finally just, understood what he was saying was happening with the car. So we made the right adjustments, and everybody on the race team did a good job. Got a great group of guys. They worked really hard. So we were all leaning on each other and talking about it, and everybody just worked together all 400 laps, and that's what it took to win the thing.
Zippy, I know you guys have been waiting on this day for a long time, and I know this is certainly a wonderful moment for you guys to share all as a team. So talk a little bit about what this win means to you.
Yeah, absolutely. For everybody at Stewart Haas, I thank you for your efforts, your attitude. Everybody has had an amazing amount of drive, attitude in the last couple of months when everybody's been beating us up and where we're at and what's going on. So, we came up here and tested. Guys did a good job of spending 2 days getting some laps in. The 39 car unloaded, and they were good and they were fast, qualified well. 14 was off, and they rebounded from it. And that to me is what counts. Is they all, like he said, everybody was in for all 400 laps. They called a really good race. I think that's, they put themselves in position. That these races today, track position is so important. But you got to have your car close enough for a driver to step up and take the challenge. And, we were able to do that as a group today. And I'm proud of everybody back home and the guys here that have put their effort in.
We'll go ahead and take questions for Steve and Zippy while we wait on Tony to finish his victory lane responsibilities. We'll start here in the media center. Please raise your hand. We'll get a wireless mic to you. And as always, please state your name and affiliation. Questions? Okay, we'll start with Bob and then go to Jeff.
Bob Parker, Sporting News. Steve, how hard has the first part of this season been, and what does this do for you going the rest of the way?
Well, the first part, everybody sees that. We've struggled, and we've struggled as a group. It's not just like one car has been up contending for wins. It's been all three that have struggled, and we sat down, and hats off to Zippy for pulling everybody together to make sure that we're getting better each week and looking at the right areas. But it's really big. It's not a fix-all for what we've got going on. I think that it's a step in the right direction. It was a car that was competitive once we got it up front, but it's not a fix of where we know, we're going to go do this every weekend. We've got to keep our, heads down and keep digging, and I think that everybody at Stewart Haas Racing understands that they work their guts out, Bob. It's not from a lack of effort. You guys don't see that. You guys can't be there at the shop to understand that everybody's working hard and pulling this together. And I think that when you're down, it tells a lot about a group of guys to pull together and try to get out of that slump. And I think that it's headed in the right direction. I think that we made gains at Charlotte. We got to test Pocono, so we're excited about that. But we also came here with those things, and we were off a little bit. Even though that we had tested there, we went in a different direction, but it was just a couple of little things that we were off on, and we went back to it, and it worked for us today.
Okay, we'll take our next question from Jeff.
Jeff Gluck from USA Today. Zippy, you said, I guess last week, that the chase was kind of the furthest thing from anybody's mind because you just needed to focus on getting things turned around first. Well, now Tony's in the number one wild card spot and looks to be right now in a pretty decent position. Do you feel like it's okay to start thinking of those terms and try to take this and use that, or are you still not back far enough yet where you still feel like you have more work to do?
Oh, we've got more work to do. Don't let this kid anybody. But as a group, we're building momentum at the right time of the year. We did win a race, and I don't know. I guess we moved up a bunch of points with one car. So, that's positive. So we're going to take the positives. We're going to go to Pocono, and we're going to try to build on it, just like we did at Charlotte. It's all we can do is build on it and continue to improve. When we win a bunch of these things in a row, then that means we don't have to work on it anymore. But you're right. We did make gains. We did talk last week, and like I told you, some things take time. And these guys did a really good job this weekend of getting off, executing, getting their stuff back on, making the right calls at the right time, and putting themselves in position to win. And that's what it's about in this sport. Is you gotta have a car good enough to put yourself in position, and then you gotta be able to execute that.
We are now joined by our race winner, Tony Stewart, driver of the number 14 Code 3 Associates Mobile One Chevrolet. Tony, it's very good to see you here in the media center. Talk a little bit about that win out there today. How are you feeling right now?
God, as much as I hate to say it, it's good to be back in the media center. This was, I don't know what Zip and Steve have mentioned before we got here, but this is a weekend that to me helps define what our program's about and what our organization's about. And to go from where we were on Friday to having a bad day to yesterday gaining on it but not having speed, and then today continuing to make changes and start with the car that we had makes me proud of the two guys that are sitting beside me, because I wasn't the result of what happened today as much as the reason that we're all three sitting here is because of the two guys beside me. And yesterday when we finished happy hour, I mean, I'll be 100% perfectly honest, and I might get backhanded by both of them sitting here, but I was preparing for a very long day today. I wasn't prepared to be sitting here. I knew that they stayed late and were working, but I honestly didn't think we could get there from where we ended up happy hour yesterday. But I'm proud to be sitting here saying that I was very wrong. And happy that I was wrong. So these are the days that, this means more to me going from where we were Friday to where we are today than having a weekend where we show up and we're quickest in practice, sit on the pole and everything goes right all weekend. It's much harder to do it the way that we just had to do it over the last 48 hours. So that's what makes me really proud of these two guys and what they've done, because this was no layup. This was not a little bit of tweak here, a little bit of tweak there. This was going and really sitting down and saying, okay, we may have to abort everything that we're doing to try to come up with a new package. And to have that ability and the confidence for these guys to do what they did overnight, that speaks volumes to me as an owner and a driver both, to know that we have guys that have the confidence to do this, and we've got a great. The thing is, it shouldn't be just the three of us here. It should be about 200 people sitting behind us here that all are responsible for this right now, and another group of guys that sit at a shop about 10 miles away that have been a big part of that at Hendrick Motorsports. But our guys have never given up. There's been a lot of dejected guys all year and disappointed guys all year, but that's why we want them working at Stewart Haas Racing too, is because of the way we've been running. We want them to be disappointed and dejected, and but nobody's walking around with their heads down. They're all trying to find a solution, and that's what makes days like today so special, is when you got guys that just do not quit and they refuse to give up. And all day I kept listening to Steve on the radio and knew that our lap times were good. It just, we never really got the track position to do anything. And I was just happy. I was going to be happy if we got in the top 10, to be honest. And, we got up to 8th there, and then Steve had I'll be honest, Steve had the balls to make a call that gave us the opportunity to run for the win. And, that's confidence, and that's something that you can't teach. It's just something you have to have, and Steve has it. So, I was behind him 100% on it. I thought it was a good call, and that gave us the opportunity to do what we did. So, without that call, we're not sitting here.
Okay, we'll continue our questioning. We'll go to Kenny, then go back to Jeff.
Kenny Bruce from NASCAR.com. Tony, we typically, when a team's struggling, we always ask them what's wrong, and the response is, if we knew what was wrong, we would fix it. But
you got that shit straight.
But you obviously can look at your results after a race, and you know where your team is deficient. Has there been any one area, or has it been just a general, we're not good enough in several areas?
You got to guide that question to this man next to me. I mean,
if he can answer it, that would be fine.
As I'll be honest, I'm not the smartest guy in the world. You guys have known that over the last 15 years. I've proven that time and time again. I'm just smart enough to know to hire good people, but I honestly don't know. I mean, and the hard thing in this business, and especially when you're struggling, it's hard. The further off base you are, the harder it is to sit there and pinpoint a problem. It can be numerous problems, and it can be one problem. But the hard part is when you're far enough off base, it's hard to break it down and diagnose those problems. It literally is a process, at least in my opinion, my view, it's a process of elimination. You eliminate a variable at a time till you finally narrow it down to a group of possibilities of what the problem is, and that's something that this group has done and been doing, and we're still in the process of doing. But you can have that mindset if that's what has to happen, but you have to have people that have the mindset to also execute that, and that's what we've got. We've got people that are very dedicated to making sure, and no matter how bad it gets, they keep their heads focused in the same direction. And what Zippy's done in the last month especially has been able to get these guys to rally around each other, and we're all looking for a direction of what it's going to take to get this thing fully back on track consistently. But the hard thing is when you got the more people you got involved, the more teams you got involved, the easier it is to have one going one direction, one going another direction, and a third going a total opposite direction of those two. And it takes somebody like Zippy to try to get these guys to at least put their minds together, and it's okay to be working different directions, but have all three teams understand why we're going the directions we're going to try to figure it out. So that's something we've really been focusing on the last month, and I think last week was a step in the right direction, and a bigger step than I possibly could have imagined. This week is a step in the right direction. Matt and Ryan had an awesome day on Friday, qualified well, and that gives us hope. Today gives us hope. So, this is not an organization that's turned around in 2 weeks. We still have a lot of work to do to get it turned around, but the last 2 weeks we've made progress, and last week was a big step. This week is another step, and it gives Ryan and Danica and I confidence as drivers. It gives the three crew chiefs confidence that we are making progress, and we're making forward progress at this point. So, I think as an organization we have a lot to be proud of right now.
Okay, we'll take a question from Jeff, then go up to Holly.
Jeff Gluck from USA Today. I understand what you're saying about kind of just taking incremental steps and making progress, but with the wild card system, in some ways your season is completely turned around now, because now you're in the chase as it was today, halfway to there. So how much of that chase focus it will play into things now? Because obviously you want to keep building with your in the right direction, but then you have this other goal here now, which is a very realistic goal. Where does that the wild card factor into things?
Very valid question. I'll be honest. I mean, I've done this enough and been in the chase enough that being in the chase is not a novelty for me to. I don't care about being in the chase unless I have an opportunity to win the championship. To me, it's a bigger deal to me to get our program turned around to where if we have the opportunity to get in the chase that we have. Our goal is not just to make the chase. Our goal is to be championship contenders. So I would rather miss the chase in the effort to be in the process of building our program to where we have an opportunity to not just be in the chase, but have an opportunity to win the chase. Just making the chase that's not good enough. That will not change our focus. It won't change our direction with one win today. It's like we talk about in our meetings. Everybody has to get on board the ship, and one guy has to steer the ship, and we all have to go that direction. And this will not change the direction of where we're aiming the ship right now. We want to get 3 cars competitive and get 3 cars running well again. So we realize that this could put the 14 team in contention and make the chase. That's not good enough. I mean, I want to get this whole program turned around to where all 3 drivers have a feeling and an opportunity to go to the racetrack every weekend feeling like they have an opportunity to go out and have a good result at the end of the day.
Okay, we'll take our next question from Holly, then come up to Rick.
Holly Kane, NASCAR.com. That was kind of what my question was, but taking...
we can move on then.
No, I have another one. Okay. Don't throw me off.
Too late.
A lot of people have spoken about your statistics and the slower start this year. I'm just curious for you, how deep have you had to dig? How much of a cheerleader have you had to be? And how important is it for you to get this win and to be able to show the team and be able to go into the shop and be able to, say, we're moving on, we're progressing?
It's been a lot harder than you think. I mean, it's, the thing about being in the role we're in as an owner and driver is when you have a good day like today, I'm ecstatic about our win, but at the same time, I go back to the bus and I'm like, okay, what happened with Ryan's day? What happened in Danica's day? So it's, when everything goes good, you still average out with what all 3 teams do. And when it goes bad, you feel that assumption of responsibility for what all 3 teams have had. So as much as this is a great win and a great victory for us and great momentum builder for our organization, I will go back and instead of just focusing on the fact that we won, it's going to be what happened in Ryan's day, what happened in Danica's day, and it does make you have to play cheerleader. I like looking at cheerleaders. I think they're hot. I'm not much of one, but that's my role. I mean, I can't sit there and go down on the shop floor and tell these guys what to do to make changes to the car to make it better. My job is, as a car owner, to go down there and keep the morale of the guys good. And I would say Zippy's done a much better job of that than I have. I've struggled with it. It's been very hard when you've had the start to the season that we've had. It's you start questioning, you start doubting, you start looking for answers that you don't have the knowledge to diagnose, and that makes you feel very helpless at times. And having a good support system has probably been the biggest thing. And I think as much as I got to be a cheerleader for everybody else, those guys on the shop floor, the guys that don't even come to the track when we're at the shop, they've been cheerleaders to keep us motivated and pumped up. I mean, it's a group. It's a group effort. It's not one person leading the charge. I mean, everybody's rallied around each other and kept their mindsets positive. And Zippy and Steve and Matt Borland and Tony Gibson and Ryan and Danica going down and seeing the guys. That's what keeps everything motivated. We all have the role of keeping each other energized and pumped up. But the guys that don't even get a shot to come to the racetrack on the weekends have done as much of that as anybody. So I think it's truly been a team and an organization that has rallied around each other, and there's 200 plus people that just refuse to quit. They just won't stop. I mean, they won't. There's nobody that says, well, what we got's good enough and what we're doing is good enough. I mean, everybody's frustrated, everybody's agitated, but it's for good reasons. They're not just happy just having a job and collecting a paycheck. They want the same thing we want, and that's to be sitting here in the media center at the end of the day talking to you guys about what are we doing to make it better.
Okay, we'll go to Rick, then back to Bob.
Tony, Rick Bonnell with the Charlotte Observer. Juan seemed very he made it clear that he knew that you had him. He knew his tires were going. He knew that he could see that your momentum was going to get him. When you made the move to the outside, was it that obvious to you two that the race had changed?
Not necessarily. Because even when you get somebody like Juan that's in that situation where his tires might be gone, you've got a world champion that is behind the wheel, and that's we've talked about this Gen 6 car and how hard it is to make a difference. You still take guys like Jimmy Johnson and Kyle Busch and Jeff Gordon and guys like Juan Montoya. They can take cars that have worn out tires and still figure out how to get that extra little bit they need out of it. And we got running the same line Juan was, and that was letting the car kind of go up in the middle of the racetrack a little bit. And I started moving around and moved down all the way to the bottom through the center of the corner and picked up speed. And he is very keen on paying attention. I mean, he didn't get where he is by not paying attention to situations like that. And he saw that right away after 2 corners, and moved and adjusted his line and picked up speed as well. It literally was a mindset of trying to figure out in a lap whether it was worth risking losing second and finishing third to Jeff if I moved around to try to find a spot to win the race. And to me, that was worth the risk. So that's what NASCAR wants in this series. That's the scenario we chose. I wasn't going to, it was worth the risk of either winning the race or falling back to third because we picked the wrong line but tried. So, the last thing Steve said when we got ready to go to green, he said, use it up, which I'm sitting there as a car owner going, I got to pay for this. You can use it up all you want. I got to pay for this stuff at the end of the day. But I knew what he meant. So, and it's fun. It's, Juan very easily could have made it very difficult and very complicated to race him. And I've always liked Juan. I've always respected Juan. And I think he's come a long way in this series about the mindset of this. But it's fun. There's a list that we have of people that when you sit there and you look at those people, it's people that you enjoy racing, that you hope you have that battle with, and that they will treat you with respect, and they know that you'll pay the favor back. And treat them with respect when it comes to racing them for a win. And, to have Jeff and Juan in that scenario, that's 2 guys that are on that list of guys that I respect and would want to be in that scenario with.
Okay, we'll take our next question from Bob.
And Bob Hocker, Sporting News. Obviously, during the last few months, there were lots of rumors about your team and possible
You guys
changes.
started all that crap.
Well, no, we get asked about it by people in the garage. I mean, other competitors.
I don't know who you guys are talking to in the garage area. You guys need to just come talk to us because we never discussed any of this crap that's been going around there that's been a huge distraction to our organization.
My question is, does this win help calm anybody in your group who thought that there might be changes, and is it any validation of what you believe Steve can do?
It doesn't calm me down because it ticks me off that I got to sit here and go through this crap because of you guys. I mean, if you're going to put something in there that there's going to possibility of somebody moving around, you might want to talk to the guys that write the checks, the guys that work there, and find out the facts before you guys go throwing darts on the dartboard. I'll be honest, it pissed me off because it was a big distraction to my team, my organization. It kept us from doing our job because people are hearing rumors and reading what you guys write, which was totally inaccurate and unprofessional, in my opinion. If you're going to write that, you better have some facts behind it because there wasn't anybody in our camp that said anything. So if you heard it from somebody else, that's not good enough. If that's your sources, you better do a better job because it was a big distraction. And when I finally got wind of it was 3 weeks after it first came out, and I was ticked. I don't need that crap. I got enough stuff to worry about keeping 3 cars competitive and trying to get them in that state, and having to deal with a bunch of bull crap that's inaccurate and speculation. To me, at this level, is unacceptable. Our organization doesn't need it. It didn't deserve it. They've worked hard enough, and to have to sit there and have people question what's going on, and us have to take that much extra time to try to defuse what you guys planted was a bunch of crap. And don't do it.
Any additional questions? Okay, Diego.
Yeah,
It was going really good till I got to that, and I was willing to look through it today, to be honest. But you brought it up, Pacres, which you're the guy I expect to bring that up. So
Sorry, I got to ask you after you get upset, but
I'll try to cheer up for you.
thank you. You were speaking about Montoya, and today was probably the closest he's ever been to winning for the first time on an oval. Just wondering if you felt any sympathy for him. I mean, it's been getting close, but nothing.
Absolutely. I mean, both of us are hungry for a win. You know, and the thing is, Juan, you know, I spoke to him early in the weekend. We're parked right next to each other in the motorhome lot. And, you know, for someone like him that's been, you know, he's an Indy 500 champion. He's a world champion. I mean, there's no doubt he knows how to drive. There's no doubt he knows how to win races. At this level, it truly is about the people that you're with. And, you know, it's like he mentioned the other day. I mean, he went through the lowest to low times last year with Ganassi, and those guys have made huge steps in their program this year, and now they're reaping the rewards of it, both him and Jamie. And it's good to see, because Juan is a championship caliber driver. Where he was running in the field last year is not indicative of his skill and talent as a driver. And it was good to see him in a position to win the race. You know, like I said, he could have made it a lot worse on us, and he ran us with respect. And that's when you're hungry for a win, it's easy to say, hey, I did what I had to do. And, you know, he ran us with the utmost respect. And, you know, I think he deserves a lot of credit and recognition for that.
Okay, I think we had one final question.
Tom Bowles, Front Stretch and Athlon Sports. Tony, I just wanted to ask about the final restart for a minute, because you had a front row seat for that with Juan and Jimmy. You know, Jimmy after the race said that Juan led them up through very slow. At least one other driver also said the restart was really slow. I just wanted to see from your vantage point whether you thought it was a normal restart, whether there was anything weird there that threw you off, and were you surprised that Jimmy ended up with a penalty off that?
Juan was leading the race, correct? So he's in charge of the restart pace. You know, there's guys can talk about what the pace is. The zone that we have to restart in is not very conducive to being leader friendly. Most of the time, the guy that's second has a huge advantage, and most of the time will lay back and roll the start and play it to his advantage. I feel bad for Jimmy, because Jimmy ran good all day. He didn't deserve to be in a situation at the end, but at the same time, he knows what the rules are. He knows that the leader has to cross the start-finish line first. He knows that. It's not to me to say whether it's right or wrong. You guys saw the scenario the same as we did, but everybody knows the rules. We know what the procedure is, and Juan's smart enough to not let the second-place guy take advantage of the restart.